Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's FPV podcast. We're going to have this is actually going to be a special one because we have the Megadrone X event coming up this weekend. So we're going to cut the podcast a little short and actually release it a little bit early. I have with me Paul, and I'll let him introduce himself here shortly, who's actually going to be racing the Megadrone X, and I'm actually an event coordinator. So we're just going to, for this podcast, talk quickly about the Megadrone X, how he's prepping for it, how I'm prepping for it, and hopefully you'll be there to watch the live stream of it. So Paul, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Okay. My name is Paul Nurkala. I am otherwise known as my pilot handle, Bulbufet FPV. I have a passion for racing and FPV and the community that it generates. And I have a YouTube channel that is all about kind of telling the story of what it means to be a multi-rotor pilot. And that kind of has three facets of fun, something that I'm kind of trying to call professionalism and community. And we have tools and stuff around each of those aspects. And it's a good time. Check it out.
Yeah, definitely. Paul also does a live stream almost weekly, and it's a good time to watch him build stuff and heckle him, because I always enjoy coming in and heckling him.
The hecklers get the boot, so come watch and enjoy.
He hasn't booted me yet. I've been nice. Maybe that's one of my goals. That's one of my goals. I'm gonna get booted one of these days.
You're only a jerk in real life. Why?
Ah, that hurts. That hurts. Oh, okay. Hey, I'll remember that MDX. Because I make the rules then.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
No, my quads make the rules.
Yeah.
You watch yourself.
Hey! I can get you kicked out. Okay, I'll stop. We'll be good. We'll be good. Before we start, really quickly, shout out to TBS Team Black Sheep for being the platinum sponsor. And also, if you're not attending the event but you like racing, please definitely attune to the live stream. FPVlive.tv. They will be doing the live stream for both days. It would be awesome. Come hang out. Come to social media and talk to your favorite pilots, because they'll probably be tweeting, Facebooking, whatever throughout the entire day. So, are you going to try to get a HD footage out onto Facebook as soon as you're done with the first qualifying lap?
I don't know. I haven't considered it. I've not been to a big race where I intended on competing yet. So I do know that is the pretty normal thing, where it's like the first person to post footage of the course kind of gets all the credit. So maybe. Yeah. Do you want to stick me in an early qualifier lap? Why? Can you do that?
See,
can you abuse your powers a little bit more?
No, I can't, because Joe Scully has all the power. So you can only
kick me out, but you can't help me?
Exactly.
What was I saying about you being a jerk just in real life? No.
Okay, so it's
you're a jerk
then.
all the time.
Okay.
That's it. I'm done. We're out of here.
Hey, let me get Elvin on. I don't need to take this. No, I'm kidding.
We can edit that part, right?
Yeah. Me and Paul, we're close. You can tell. We like to heckle each other all the time. It's how you know you're friends. But so very quickly, the Megadrone X, it's a Drone Nationals qualifier, which I'm sure a lot of pilots right now want to qualify for New York, and a lot of pilots are coming in. They're definitely intending to race and to win. So, Paul, what have you been doing to prep for this? Because I know you've been doing a lot.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I kind of have to process through that, because a lot of what I've done has been on purpose, but without much of a plan, if that makes sense. So like I'm constantly doing something, trying to get ready, but I haven't really thought through what each of those different things are. For example, this past weekend and Monday, I burned about 60 packs, trying to get prepared for it. So like 20 a day. And so, just try, and of those, 2/3 were on an actual racetrack, against other people, doing heat after heat after heat, of just kind of trying to get myself in the zone, stop focusing on the other opponents and get through the course. I've been building like crazy. I'm trying to, I kind of made a maybe a somewhat silly decision, and I'm trying out some new electronics and stuff like that. One of my builds in particular has given me some trouble, so I've been constantly troubleshooting and trying to get all of that ready. And I've been kind of trying to prepare. I mean, as a content creator, I've been trying to kind of prepare a little bit of a plan for how I am going to tell the story of the event, because I'm very excited to go and say, this is what it was like. These were my experiences, and give the greater community the opportunity to kind of experience along with me and the other pilots what it was like to be at that event. How I'm going to do that, not totally sure yet, but that is something that I am also thinking of beyond just competing.
Yeah, cool. No, it makes a lot of sense. You're saying half your packs are on the track, so are you just kind of setting up a random track, or are you actually mimicking what's going to be at the MDX?
Yeah, well, so the course track for MDX was released 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago. We created both a liftoff version of the track, as well as 3 weeks ago we actually went out and set up the entire track to scale and practice racing on that. I had technical problems that entire day, so I probably only did about 5 or 10 decent packs on the track, unfortunately.
That sucks.
But I had the chance to kind of get the feel for it and kind of start making decisions on the kinds of powertrains that I want to be running, the kinds of batteries that I'm going to be choosing, all of that stuff.
Awesome, cool. From that track practice, what have you done to actually, to change your quads? You were talking about battery packs and stuff like that.
Yeah. So I am running both all in 4, 5, and 6-inch classes. This particular course is very long and flowy. There's a lot of straightaways. There's a lot of big open areas where you can open the throttle. So in my opinion, the 6-inch vehicle is going to be king for this particular course. So I have been focusing personally on my 6-inch game and building courses and quads to kind of mirror top speed more than maneuverability, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So I swapped from 2205 2300 kV motors on my 6-inch to 2206. 2206 2200 kV motors. So stepped them up a little bit bigger, a little bit lower kV, higher efficiency, higher top speed, kind of tuning for those long big runs.
Yeah.
And for the 5-inch quad, I also stepped up to Emax red bottoms, which generally have higher thrust levels all the way across, and 4 inches just a crapshoot. So.
You know what? I have absolutely no clue what's going to happen in 4-inch, to be honest with you. I will say, I think in general, I think you're right, because that straightaway is really long.
Yeah. So I mean,
you can gain a lot of speed.
Easily be getting up to 80 miles an hour down some of those straightaways. So it's you want to have. I'm basically gearing myself for top end speed. In addition, practicing that, because I'm actually pretty bad at wide open courses. I know that sounds silly, but I like to kind of have really technical stuff. And so when I have a hard time just dropping the hammer on the throttle and shooting through a gate, because I just kind of chicken out. I like to go through gates a little bit slower and come out of them faster. So we'll see what happens. I know right now that I'm at a disadvantage just because of my flying style, but it should be fun.
Should be fun. But at the same time, though, there is a very technical side to it, because coming out of the ring into that hairpin, it is actually, after we looked at it, and on our side as an event coordinator, we actually debated on whether or not to remove gates, because there's so many gates in that area. It does make it very technical, and this is just a guess, because until we actually see it, we don't know. But we're expecting a lot of crashes right there, because it's going to be I think it's going to be a log jam, especially when 8 of them are up flying and if they're close together. So it'll be interesting. So
are you guys nervous at all about getting 8 people in the air at the same time? Not many events have successfully done it.
I don't think I'm really not that worried. We tried 6 already and we didn't have any issues, and we tried the top 8 channels, leaving channels 1 and 2, which is usually the ones that are the most safe, because they're on
Okay.
the bottom of the spectrum, and
Okay.
we haven't had much issues in terms of quality.
Okay.
The only issue that we're worried about is if one of the quads gets close to the flight line, in which
Yeah.
it's too close to the tower, then it could potentially knock the video out of the quads at the far end. It won't
Okay.
knock video out of the close end, but the far end it will, because that's how video works.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you got to
Hmm.
remember, like a lot of times, people talk about multipathing and reflection and all that stuff, but what you don't see in the videos that we have is that there's 8 acres that video frequency can bounce to and into the dirt, so
Yeah.
it doesn't stay in one spot all that
Well,
often.
and multipathing is an issue when you have a conductive material, right? Because it doesn't the stone will actually kind of absorb it a little bit
Hmm.
instead of bouncing straight off of it like a like metal rafters in a warehouse or something like that.
Exactly, and the dirt really helps too, because once it bounces into the dirt will absorb it, and there's plenty of
Yeah.
dirt down there. So, and loose
Yeah.
dirt too. So, I can't say it's not going to be a problem, but I'm pretty confident it won't be. I think we can minimum get 7 up. We might have a problem with the eighth one, or if people have problems with their VTXs, which it happens. So, we're hoping.
I heard we disallowed Vortex stock VTXs.
You know, I'm letting Joe Scully run that, because
All
like
right.
there's
Fair enough.
there's so many like hearsay, because like every event I go to the coordinators and I ask about stuff like that, and I get like different answers from different coordinators every time, and it's like, forget
Don't
it.
ask the coordinators. They don't know. They're not
Well,
flying against the
well the
quads.
well the coordinators get all the feedback and get all the arguments. Then you talk to the pilots, and their answers don't match up sometimes either. So I don't know. We'll see. Experience will tell. So, do you have your quads with you? Why don't you show us what you got?
Yeah. Do you want me to start at 4-inch or 6-inch or
Go.
3-inch?
You don't. We're not flying 3 inch. You just want to tease me on the quad that you owe
Yeah.
me.
I built this quad for Y, and I'm a lazy bastard, and I don't ship stuff on time, and so I'm just going to drive it down instead of actually paying to ship it.
Yes,
Because the,
yes.
the event's in a week. So it's this is the 3-inch quad that I built for him that I just wanted to put on stream so that he could see it and drool and be sad. So we'll start with 4-inch. This is the quad that I'm actually having problems with. This is a 160 Falcon. It was sent to me by Falcon Multirotors to do a live stream and race in MDX. It's got an HS 1177 on the front, a FX 799T in the back, which is the race required VTX for MDX. It as a flight controller has the Flip 32 F3. From Ready to Fly Quads. Great little board. I've actually got one of those on every single one of my builds, which is awesome. Like, I can't tell you how nice it is to have the same electronics to some degree on your quads across the board, so that you know and expect how each of them are going to fly. It comes with a power distribution board, to which I have added 5 and 12 volt regulators. Both the camera and the VTX are run off the 12 volt. The flight controller is then run off the 5 volt. Underneath this, you can kind of see there's ESCs. They are Ready to Fly Quads ARM based 32-bit 18 amp ESCs. They have a higher what's the word I'm looking for? Stepping count. Essentially, they have more resolution in the throttle that they can provide.
That's the right word. Yeah.
by about double. And so they make everything buttery smooth. And then on it, I have 1806 2700 kV DYS motors. I like lighter motors for 180 quads. And I've had a lot of luck with these ones, actually. Some people will hate them, some people love them. I'm in the love category. But yeah, so this is my 180 quad. It's an X quad, Falcon Multirotors. Go give them some love. It's an awesome frame. This weighs about 260 grams dry.
That's pretty good. Is this
And It's heavier than I wanted it to be, but it's good.
That's a true X design, right? It's
Yep.
X plus all the motors are equally spaced.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. What
So
do you
yeah,
got?
that's that guy.
What do you got for 5?
So this is my 5-inch beast. This is
All of
the
yours are true X. I'm gonna
they
notice.
they're all true X now. They weren't a few weeks ago, but so this is the Atmospheric Adventures Artemis. This is actually unreleased as of yet. They sent me a pre-production model to play around with and kind of give them some feedback, give them some thoughts. I have some non-stock standoffs in here, but other than that, this is basically what they sent me. And this frame kicks butt. I am totally in love with it. It has 4mm bottom plate and a 3mm top plate. You don't see 3mm top plates much, but this ends up taking a good beating every once in a while just because of the shape of this top FPV pod. On the back is not a race qualified VTX, so I've got to swap. I'm actually swapping it out tonight. That's on my agenda. HS 1177 Flip 32 F3. I have a ready to fly quads power distribution board. There are these are the ready to fly quads 30 amp ARM 32-bit ESCs with Emax RS 2205 2300 kV motors. And this thing is nuts. I am absolutely in love with it. It is fast. It's fun. This is I have a really heavy antenna on there. I built some antennas to last. So with a light antenna, this will be under 300 grams dry, which means with a 1,000 mAh pack, you can put it'll be just over 400 grams all up, and have a 12-to-1 thrust to weight ratio. So, and 4mm, so it's not going to break. I've done some pretty bad stuff to it. And this already has my race ready LEDs. I've got a green one on the top and a red one on the bottom. And so when I'm flying in forward flight, you'll see red there, and then when you're green there, when you're behind me, you'll see red. You're only going to see red.
Yep, that's the way to go for those True X designs, because you only need it on one arm. Just find a spot, put them on.
Yeah, and I haven't yet put them on the 180 yet, because I'm pretty sure I'm going to change some electronics around to get it working. And
also a side note, I don't think it matters if we say this, but NBC is actually coming down as the news broadcasters, and they're going to be filming most of the day. So having LEDs on your quads, especially if you're a pilot watching this, it's a good idea, because then your quad will actually show up on film. Otherwise, it's just a black blob.
It's required, though, isn't it?
It is required.
Yeah.
And part of the reason why is because of them, to be honest with you. So I actually have the Artemis as well, with different electronics, but it is a very nice flying frame. And personally, like for me, especially as a hobbyist, not as so much as a racer, I like beefier designs, because you try different things and you crash them, and you'd like to know that it comes out the other side in one piece. Just replace your props, maybe a motor, should be good to go. And I will say, though, those red bottom motors, number one, they're probably the most cost-effective motors that I've seen for the performance. And I think they're actually like the motors to beat right now in terms of what people want. And usually that means they're hard to get too. I don't know if they're hard to get. Were they hard to get?
They're not. They made enough of them. They're not like KISS ESCs. Like they're there. I've not had. If I've gone and looked for them, I've not had to look far to find some available.
Cool. Yeah. Good frame. They're also a sponsor, so I'm allowed to shield them a little bit. Being totally honest. So 6-inch. What do you got?
So finally, we have this is the Multi-Rotor Mania Scythe. It is a 220 millimeter motor to motor X design with these cross brace supports. And with those, you can bring it down to a 3 millimeter bottom plate. So this weighs about 320 dry, a little bit heavier. It's got some slightly bigger motors, and obviously a little bit more material that makes this up. And I have on here a TPU mount, because this is my GoPro hauler as well. So, when I'm doing HD filming, it will mostly be on this quad. On it, I have, again, Flip 32 F3, HS 1177 camera, FX799T VTX, which is actually heavily modified to have a pigtail, and actually the signal wires are direct soldered as well, and a custom antenna sticking out the back. This has an RR Red Rotor OSD. It is just a plug and play OSD. It shows your voltage, has a 12 volt and a 5 volt regulator, super clean video filtering, all that stuff. Great OSD. If you don't have one, pick one up. They are by far my favorite, but they're a little bit on the expensive side, so it's you have a give and take there. For ESCs, I have the Ready to Fly quads, 30 amp ARM 32-bit ESCs. And for motors, I have Ready to Fly quads, 2206, 2200 kV motors. So they swing those 6-inch props with well over a kilogram of thrust per corner.
Mm-hmm. Looks like
and fairly efficiently.
Yeah. No, that's pretty cool. So, like, you showing me all your quads, and they're definitely like almost all of the racing quads now are True X and nice LED setup. And it seems like you're a believer in the True X design at this point. That's what you're going to go with for all serious racing.
Yes. Not necessarily just because that's what I want. I like H quads actually for filming a little bit better. There's a little bit more room to work with. You can balance stuff better. It's not as awkward to kind of like wedge a GoPro in the top. This Multi-Rotor Mania TPU mount makes it awesome, actually. So I'm really happy with this as a hauler and as a racer right now, because I take the GoPro off and then have a 12-to-1 thrust to weight ratio, and it's got a wide. I like that it actually has a wide stance. It feels a little bit more stable in the air, even as opposed to this one. So if you put 5-inch props on here, it's still going to be just about as fast as this one, but it has a wider stance, and it just feels more locked in to me. I don't know if there's any factual evidence behind that, but
here I got a question for you. Of the 4, 5, and 6-inch, did you spend more money on any one of them, relatively speaking?
No, I probably spent about the same on each of them.
Okay, I was just curious if there was a focus on one of the quads or not, because
yeah, and the problem is not all of this stuff was paid for directly by me, so it's kind of like, and there's different parts in each that would make them more expensive. Like this has a more expensive control stack because of the OSD and all of that stuff, but this has a more expensive powertrain. But it's a little bit simpler. So it's kind of a give and take. I know this frame is probably the most expensive out of all of them. But so it's kind of, it's a give and take. So they all probably end up about the same. The 180 is probably a little bit cheaper, but negligible amounts. You're thinking $20, $30, not $100.
Yeah, that's not that bad. So like, I guess we're going to start wrapping this up. We're going to make it a fairly short podcast. What kind of propellers? I mean, do you have a philosophy on propellers? There has been a lot of discussion on propellers, and I don't know. I mean, what's your take?
I don't have a philosophy per se. I tend to like biblades better than tri-blades for the most part. I find them easier to tune. I find them a little bit snappier. They might be lacking a little bit in top end thrust, but they are also more durable, in my opinion. And you don't have to, you're not spending your entire time between races like bending props and making sure that everything is back to the right, because we all fly JALs now, right? So I mean, you don't have to spend nearly as much time bending props around trying to get them all back in the right spot. So I like them better as a result.
Okay, what about bullnoses versus like a traditional blade design?
I have bullnose on my 5-inch. I have traditional on my 6.
Just for efficiency's sake on your 6?
Yes, these are the King Kong 6040s. So
6040s. Okay.
they have a slightly less intense angle of attack. So they produce a little bit less thrust, but they produce more um, efficiency, and they allow the motor to spin at a higher RPM than a 6045. And so you kind of get a better trade-off. Like, so there's slightly less thrust, but it's way more efficient,
That's good.
and they don't break.
But they can sure bend into some weird ass shapes.
Yes, yeah. These are much more bendy than the Dal V2s, but they're also.
Uh,
Oh yeah, the other thing was that you can get, I think, 20 of them for like $7 or something.
it's
They're
crazy.
ridiculously cheap if you're willing to wait for the slow boat.
Yeah, the slow boat. But hey, I mean, I don't understand how they can make them that cheap. Maybe everything's that cheap, and we're just overpaying for all the other props. That's probably true, actually. Now that I think about it, but uh,
It's definitely true.
yeah. Batteries. What are you going with? You going for light or are you going for heavy?
1300s across the board.
1300 across the board. You think you can make 5 laps easily with 1300s?
It's 5 laps.
It's 5 laps.
Oh.
Are you serious?
Uh, I don't know. Actually, I'll get back to you on that. We'll see in practice.
Uh,
I think I can make 5 laps on that.
I think you can too. Actually, we had.
I can I can drop the hammer on most of my throttle for a 3 minute flight, and if I can finish
Oh, you can
I can definitely finish 5 laps in three
3 minutes easily.
5 laps in 3 minutes. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
easily.
it should be fine.
Yeah. Any particular strategy that you've been working on for the team race?
Don't crash.
Okay. I won't. I won't
Um,
pry. I won't pry.
no. I think we are erring on the side of um, a couple of our team members have volunteered not to fly it
Hmm.
for the sake of efficiency and reduction of confusion. So if we tried to fly all of our team members as pilots, then we're going to be a little bit more confused, and we're not going to be exactly sure about the plan. And I live away from the rest of the team, so we've had a hard time, coordinating practice time and stuff like that. So we're reducing complexity and increasing consistency, and that's our goal.
That's the way to go at it. All right.
Yeah.
So, do you have anything you want to talk about or ask questions about? Here's your chance before it actually happens.
Yeah, no. How in the world are we gonna? Well, this is a Joe Scully question, though.
Yeah,
Let's.
I can try.
What? How in the world are we gonna do 80 pilots in
For 2 days?
like in so many races in 2 days? Like, because we have qualifiers all day Saturday and the GoPro race in the evening, and then and then we have actual racing all day Sunday, as well as the team event. Is just like, what? That's so much stuff in such a little time for 80 people. Like,
Num-
I don't know if any races have had 80 people yet.
we actually had the discussion, and I won't say everything that we've discussed. I will say that that particular uh, discussion has been debated a lot because 80 pilots in 2 days is pretty close to the limit that you can have without unless you can get even more pilots up in the air, and a lot of it is going to be turn times. So
Yeah.
like you really have to be on your heat sheets because we're not going to wait for you. Like literally between turn times, you have about 4 minutes. In 4 minutes for you to get to the pit, sit down, get your quad ready, that takes about two and a half. That
Yeah.
means in about another 2 minutes, you really need to actually know what you're doing. So I expect a lot of people to miss their heats in the beginning until they realize that we're going to be moving fast. Like right from the get go, Saturday will be jam packed. Sunday, not so much. Sunday, because we know who's going to be the fastest and people are going to be dropping out as soon as the first race is over.
Mhm.
It's going to be a much easier pace, but at the same time though, like only the fast guys are going to be left over. So it's very quickly going to drop down. The t- Go ahead.
So on Saturday you have practice in the morning and qualifiers in the evening. Is that my understanding?
Practice are qualifiers. They're the same thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So there is no practice before you're qualifying, but everyone qualifies for Sunday?
If you can complete 5 laps, you qualify. That's the rule. So if you can complete one race, you qualify for the Sunday. If you
Oh, okay.
if you can't, so what we're doing is that since all practice are considered qualifiers, the fastest people e- for qualifying gets to go into the HD race, the Detroit Multi-Rotor Run Cam race.
So oh, okay. How many people are in that?
Maximum of 8.
Okay.
So
Oh, wow. That is not very many. Okay.
yeah.
And then, so my follow-up question to that then is, so I'm in 3 classes.
hmm
I have then 3 shots to qualify, period. Is that what you're saying?
You have 3 different shots at qualifying for the fastest for your class. Yes. So
Okay.
what happens is you get
If I don't complete, if I don't complete a 4-inch, if I don't complete 5 laps on a 4-inch quad, I cannot race in the 4-inch class on the next day.
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I have to. Wow, that's intense.
So Joe Scully says it's not that intense because the first time out, because you know you need to qualify, don't go your fastest.
Yeah.
Qualifying isn't about the fastest time. Qualifying is about completing the heat.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so just just keep that frame of mind. Just don't go all out every time in which you don't complete 5 laps, and you'll be fine.
Right. Right.
So,
Well, so then, but like, what if somebody has technical problems on the, second lap? They lose radio signal because the cave is so long. Like that is their one chance to qualify for that.
no. Qualifying is all practices. So it's like 5 hours
How
span.
many practices will you get?
You will probably get maybe 4, 5 packs.
Yeah. Okay. 5
Yeah.
packs per class.
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
So,
Cool.
so for the people who don't quote me on this, it might be 3, but for the people, that's why a lot of people fly different classes and why you should bring like 9 battery packs, because if you are flying 4, 5, 6, you want a battery pack ready for each of those.
Yeah.
Because like otherwise, just charge quick. Well, not charge quickly, but make sure your stuff is charging because you're gonna need them. But
Right.
but there's like significant gaps between all of them because there's 80 pilots still,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you have time to charge, but
Okay.
you'll have plenty of time, plenty of chances to qualify. It's not your first one and that's it. It's every time you go out, it can be a qualifying.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So qualify early. As soon as you've qualified, balls to the walls, get that fastest lap in so that you can get into the GoPro race.
Basically.
Is there? Sorry, I keep saying GoPro race. Is there a Detroit race and a GoPro race?
No, they're the same thing, and it's Run Cam for us because Run Cam's the sponsor.
That's too bad. So if I want to have a GoPro, I have to do it during qualifiers.
Yes.
Or in real, but I won't do it in real.
He's too competitive. He's like, I'm not going to do it then.
Well, we'll see. If it looks like I can be in the top 25%, I won't put the GoPro on. If I am definitely not top 25%, I'm just gonna do what I want. I'm gonna have fun. I'm gonna get footage and have a good time.
Hey, getting footage.
Well, I'm gonna
is
have a
cool.
good time either way. Don't get me wrong.
I've seen how competitive you are. Don't even lie about that. See, he's got nothing to say. I know it.
There's no point in being competitive if you're not going to be competitive.
That's
Does
true.
that make sense?
Yes, it totally makes sense. All right.
So I'll just change my mentality early so that I don't get disappointed in myself.
That doesn't work either. All right.
Yes.
All right. All right, Mr. Karma Man. Anything else you want to ask before we drop off?
I'm good. I'm sure I'll be texting you all the time anyway. You've got time to answer all my questions, right?
Nope. Turning off my phone. Actually, my phone has been off, I'll be honest with you. Anyways, yeah, Joe Scully, by the way, is the person to ask for most of these questions because I have turned it over to him because he's the man for this stuff. I
John
like
Madden FPV.
at John Madden FPV because like literally a lot of people like come to me thinking I'm making decisions. What I'm doing is you come to me, I just could turn around, chat with him, and give you the decision. So I'm just actually a middle person that's delaying your answer. So coming to me has no value whatsoever because I'm not going to make the decision.
I knew you never had any value.
Very true. Anyways, uh, all right, Paul. Well, you kind of already covered it. So, is there any other social media networks that you want to shill out or sponsors or whatnot?
Yeah, no, Bulbufet or yeah, so you could go to bulbufet.com, bulbufetfpv.com, or paulnercola.com and find me. I've also created a separate website for my weekly live stream show on Thursday nights at 8 o'clock Eastern time at thefpvlivestream.com. You can see all the upcoming episodes and things that we're going to be building and all sorts of fun stuff. So yeah, definitely check it out.
Cool. And as for me, please, if you are not going to attend the event, drop on by the live stream. It's at fpvlive.tv. They will be doing a live stream for both days. You can hear Joe Scully's lowly voice. You can see Paul ranting and raving when he loses or when I kick him out of the race just for fun.
Or
No,
both.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
No, it's not.
And what?
Nothing.
And we will see you next time, on the FPV podcast. Thank you for all of our great sponsors, which is TBS, RunCam, Atmospheric Adventures, Drone Eclipse, you name it. There's a lot. Okay, Drone. Don't get FPV, by the way, and Detroit Multi Road Company. Thank you all. Without our great sponsors, these events can't actually happen. We will see you next time. Thank you for watching.